I can't get enough puss in the Zen room. Oh yeah.
I can't get enough puss in the Zen room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get enough puss in the Zen room.
Yeah. I'm alone in the room and I play a guitar and I'm smashing the puss and I'm looking at that juice and we're getting crunk and we're doing drugs and we're high on Adderall in the Zen room. I can't get enough puss in the Zen room.
Brood and the fruit. The brood and the fruit. The brood
and the fruit. Oh, did you see that? The Jamal, aka Jamal, the reaction dude, black dude, when he said he did a video and it was the worst song he ever heard was.
Oh.
And he says that he's refused but I thought it was gonna be like this big clickbaity thing because he kept building it up, and then I felt like he was gonna do like his thing where it's just like every song is beautiful and everybody expresses himself in different. Thought it was gonna be that. And he's like, the worst song I've ever heard, Cardi B's WAP. I was like, yes, thank you.
I like that song.
I was like, what a good man. This is a guy with Rush posters in his fucking room.
Yeah.
You know he's 41?
Wow.
I know. Black don't crack.
You heard it here first, folks. Are we recording right now?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God. You always have to say when we're recording because
Dude,
we say
you were singing a
very
fucking
inflammatory
song.
things.
There's never
You
a
were
light
singing a
comes on.
song. You think I wasn't going to record that?
Well, you should definitely keep that, except for some of the more like unsavory things that I said.
That's most of what you say.
All right, welcome to the Brute and the Fruit. I'm Kirk.
Burger.
Tim.
God, we are so bad at that. Let's restart.
I know. I feel like you
Well,
almost
we
shouldn't
did
have
good.
an intro.
That was
You just
good.
be like,
That was
and then here we are. Or you just start it.
All right,
just
well,
find a
okay,
place-
first things first. There's been a lot of news happening recently, and I feel like it's inevitable we're going to get to this point. And I know you guys got a big scoop going on later. That was something you guys are working up. So I won't be here for that. But I really want to address the elephant in the room, and I just want to say, we believe in freedom of speech here, and we're not going to be bullied by some has-been. We're not going to be bullied by a has-been. And for those of you who I'm sure everyone already
Someone
knows,
who used to make good music and doesn't. Clearly.
I'm sure all of you guys have heard about it already. We've kind of been at it with, for whatever reason, with the Geils band. They've been threatening to pull their music off of radio and other.
I think we're on Google Podcasts.
And they want us off of they want us off the internet. And and honestly, I don't even know if it's the whole band. I know it's I don't care. Well, is Jay Geils even alive anymore? Or
Jay Geils.
is this from his estate, or is this?
Is it Jay? Is
is
his
it the
name
band,
Jay,
or-
like Jay? And is it
I think
Giles
it's
or
J
is it
period
Giles?
Geils.
Gay Bile? Sorry.
I know one specifically Peter Wolf, and so I don't know if he's actually threatening to pull his catalog off of.
Peter Wolf is with the Gay Giles band.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure
Is he bass player, drummer?
He's
or-
a singer.
I thought
But
Jay Giles was
I
a
don't
singer.
think. I don't think from the message that I've deciphered, he's only threatening to pull his music.
Oh, he's dead.
Jay Giles is dead.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this is only Peter Wolf of the Jay Giles band.
Okay, and he
So
was
I
the
guess
vocalist.
He was the vocalist. He's pulling his music if we don't get dropped by our platform.
Well, we have lots of platforms.
Yeah, and we want to thank Buzzsprout for sticking with us and
Continue to support us.
Continue to support us through this because they're not going to be bullied by.
You need
the
strong
industry.
partners like that.
And we've proven ourselves to Buzzsprout, and they've now proven themselves to us because they said they're not going to budge in this situation, and I appreciate that because Peter, I'm gonna talk to you right now. I don't know you. I really don't know what you're about, but you know what? Fuck you, man.
That's right.
Go to hell.
Because I could say that, My blood ran cold, okay? From hearing you spout your bullshit, okay? So why don't you freeze frame on that, you cunt?
That's right.
I did talk to Spotify, and she said he didn't know what I was. Well, she said keep paying the $24 a month, so we're good.
Good. He didn't even know who the fuck Peter Wolf was.
No.
At first I thought when Pete the Wolf, Yeah. I thought that's who was coming after us.
That's my shit.
Yeah, I was concerned.
Yeah.
Then.
But it's just Peter Wolf, just an asshole. So.
Well, another victory for the Brute and the Fruit.
Another victory for the
and
Brute
a failure. Another failure for Mr. Peter Wolf, who's had about 35 years of failures ever since Centerfold.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, Wikipedia says his career ended in '83 anyway, so.
35 years?
Well, there you
was
go.
Close.
Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Come on, pump it. Pump it. Pump it. Pump it.
Yeah.
Pump it. Feel the green fillers are what you need. Get rid of bacteria from what you drink. All those other companies are full of shit. We the only manufacturers that be legit. Yeah, feel the green. Yeah, feel the green. Feel the green fillers is what you need. Eliminate germs from what you drink. Nobody else cares about what's in your sink. Well, feel the green fillers cares about what you think. Yeah, feel the green. Yeah, feel the green.
Your homework.
Scary microscopic germs the government made to kill your sperms. It don't have to be that way. Feel the green will make it go away. Yeah, feel the green.
Your homework, kids.
Yeah, feel the green.
Save your money and
Yeah, feel the green. You silly reader. Yeah, feel the green. Don't be a reader. Yeah, feel the green. You silly reader. Yeah, feel the green.
We wish Kirk could have been here, folks, but he had other engagements, commitments.
Yeah, he's a busy man. But the Brute and the Fruit, I got an exclusive interview with legendary rock musician Neil Young, and we've
You
got
may
Neil
have
here
heard.
in this.
I just read about that he's in some turmoil.
Yeah, he's had a problem with Spotify because of Joe Rogan and the issue with COVID misinformation.
Oh,
And so I think he wanted to kind of clear some air, and we got an exclusive interview with him. And I'm kind of a fan of his. I'm sad that Kurt couldn't be here for it because he's a big Neil Young fan. But Neil, thanks for coming to chat with us. Now, this is pretty informal interview process. We don't.
over the phone. But
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say that the pleasure is definitely all yours for me to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Spotify has recently become a very damaging force via its public misinformation and lies about COVID.
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Well,
In what way?
Well, I first learned of this problem
did you prepare questions?
by reading the 200 plus doctors
Can you share the
that
questions?
joined forces taking on the dangerous, life-threatening COVID falsehoods found on Spotify programming. Now, I believe this program is on Spotify.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So did you know that most of the listeners hearing the unfactual, misleading, and false COVID information on Spotify are 24 years old, impressionable, and easy to swing the wrong side of the truth. Wrong side of the truth.
Oh. I didn't know we were going to be serenaded.
These young people believe that Spotify would never present grossly unfactual information. They're unfortunately wrong. Wrong. So I knew I had to point it out.
Sir, I mean, there's a lot of different information on Spotify on both sides and a lot of music that's not necessarily truthful in its lyrics. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'd like to say that when it comes to information about the COVID-19, everyone should be tuning in to trustworthy programming like Mr. Don Lemon or Rachel Maddow to give you the facts that you need to know about the pandemic.
Okay.
And not listening to some podcast telling you things that are not true and misleading about something that's very serious.
Do you not think that there should be freedom of information, or?
Well, I also think that Spotify has been selling us a bill of goods about the quality of the music that they've been putting on their platform.
What do you mean?
I think that the quality is not there like it would be on something more advanced like Apple Music or Amazon or Pono.
Pono?
Pono.
That shit you tried to sell.
In
2015?
I would say that a lot of people...
A really late iPod.
I would say that a lot of people's lives were changed
when
they listened to the Pono.
Look, I don't really give a shit about the Spotify stuff, but that was a load of crap you try to sell people.
Do you know that Spotify represents 60% of the streaming of my music to listeners around the world? And almost every record I've ever released is available. My life's music. It was a huge loss for my record company to absorb. Yet my friends at Warner Brothers Reprise stood with me, recognizing the threat of COVID-19 misinformation on Spotify and the threat that it posed to the entire world.
Okay.
But isn't Joe Rogan's
particularly
podcast
for our
okay?
young people who think everything they hear on Spotify is true. But unfortunately, it's not.
How why is that?
It's not true. Spotify. Not true. They're telling lies. Ontario to California. Stay inside. Unless you get your shots. Get your shots from Pfizer,
Do you
BlackRock, and Hypnosis.
Excuse me, do you have a connection with Pfizer? Why would you be singing about Pfizer on a broadcasted show?
Well, I'd like to say that,
What's wrong with Moderna?
I'm sure you can get a vaccine from anything, anywhere, but I prefer the Pfizer. I believe that's the trusted one.
I've heard there's, you know.
I want to truly thank the many, many people who reached out to me, thanking me for taking my position.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, though, might be a little put off by the fact that the company that bought your music, its parent company, is their senior advisor is the guy that was formerly on the board of Pfizer, which I think might be a conflict of interest, it seems like, at least.
Does that have anything to do with your no?
Well, I just want to thank my truly great and supportive record company, Warner Brothers Reprise Records, for standing with me in my decision to pull all my music from Spotify.
And who is?
But the good news is that you can listen to it in better quality on Pono.
That's a load of shit.
It's not. They sold us a bill of goods.
Look, 44.1 kilohertz, MP3s even on Spotify, OGVORPS format, 320 kilobits per second is perfectly adequate for transmitting
What
music.
you don't understand
There's nothing that you're losing
that when
from your
they
shitty old
made the
analog recordings.
algorithms, they messed up. So when it's recorded to digital, you don't hear what I hear. You don't see what I see. What I see is love, 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 and misinformation on Joe Rogan and Spotify.
Well, I think we've heard enough. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to thank you for having me on your program. I'd like to 24-year-olds who believe everything they hear on Spotify to know that if you're hearing this on Spotify,
people can make up their own minds. They don't
this is
believe
the
everything.
truth. What I'm saying right now on Spotify is the truth. But what you
Right.
hear later on is not true. Did you know I had polio when I was a child?
Okay.
So don't you think I would like to have the vaccine of that? But I didn't have
Okay.
it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I just have one more question for you. You were supposed to do the soundtrack, for what I understood, from the show Lost, and you had a special connection
Oh, I'd
to
like
one
to.
of the characters from that show.
I'm glad you brought that up. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to the great Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates for being the tremendous leaders that they are
Okay.
in this world. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have anything else in this world. I'd also like to thank Blackstone for buying up all the property in the world so we don't have to have the stress of being landowners.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And I'd also like
There's
to,
the connection.
I
That's
would
good.
like to send my utter
You sold your music to
disdain
them.
to Evangeline Lilly and let her know I'm very disappointed in her and her decisions to not support the vaccine.
Well, I think she supports it. She just doesn't believe in forced mandates.
I don't believe that she should have the right to believe in that. I believe we should also start burning books again.
Okay.
I think 50 Shades of Grey is where we should start.
All right.
My wife tried putting something in my hiney when that book came out, and I didn't like it.
That's unfortunate.
No. Hashtag me too.
Wait. Okay. So wait. Thank you. Thank you, Neil Young.
Anytime.
This is going to go on Spotify and spread the truth.
Don't listen to him. It's not true.
It's what you said. We're putting your recording.
What I say is true.
Yeah, okay.
What you say is false. What they say is wrong. On Spotify. The show lost. On ABC. Primetime TV.
God, that guy's voice is annoying. Hey, looking to get into the podcasting game? We have a high-quality opportunity for you. We here at The Brute and the Fruit are a worldwide auditory entertainment vehicle delivering content to consumers since 2020. Look, sometimes quality matters more than quantity, and our consumers are some of the most discerning in the business. Little known fact, ex-associate of Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, has a seamstress, and that seamstress has a house that is worked on by a general contractor, which is heard of our show. So, for the opportunity of a lifetime, email us at brute.n.fruit@gmail.com. We're eager and ready to receive.
All right, so these are the 5 musicians that are boycotting Spotify. Neil Young.
Your guys' buddy.
Yeah, he was
I'm a little
interesting.
pissed. I couldn't be there for that. You guys couldn't like postpone. I said,
Yeah, well,
I had
you were
some
doing
shit going on.
Fatso's Film Corner or whatever.
We're trying to stay relevant. And we were surprised. Honestly,
I didn't think he was gonna.
I didn't think he was gonna.
We
talk
literally
to us.
like sent him an email, and like 20 minutes later, it was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call."
Yeah, he's like, can I? And then we were like, can you call later? And then he's like, I can call whatever time you guys want. I'm not doing anything. But
Well,
yeah,
then why
like
didn't you wait for when I got here?
Because it
I
was
thought he
because
was
we want to
gonna-
wait
he was
till it
gonna
was
change his
relevant.
mind or-
It's relevant. We didn't want if it goes too far, then nobody gives a shit because nobody fucking knows who Neil Young is anymore.
I thought he was like, I don't know. It was really weird.
Because if we let it go too long, then by the time we post the episode, then none of this is even relevant. You know how fast
They've
time
got to
moves
use
now.
like a filter
on
on
the
his
online
voice
world.
and the music because it was piercing when I heard him.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I just feel like you felt like I was going to kibosh whatever kind of attack angle you guys were going to come at him because of how much I admire his music. And you made sure I wasn't here to skew your narrative, whatever attack piece that you guys had for him.
it wasn't an attack piece.
He was talking about shit I didn't even know about. I don't know about that Spotify thing.
I don't know. Tim was kind of rude to him though. I was starstruck.
He started
so I
spouting some
struggled.
shit about digital audio. Mm-hmm. Idiot.
And he played his guitar the entire time. It was really weird. But anyways, Neil Young said, I'm doing this because Spotify is spreading fake information about vaccines, right? Because Spotify is like a news network that
Right, that's where
releases
I go.
reports
Yep.
and does journalism.
That's where I go for a real-time 24/7
silly
news
old
reporting.
fucking retard. Potentially causing death to those who believe the disinformation being spread by them. So, yeah, I'll skip that. Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell last Friday said that she would also remove her music from Spotify. Another fucking shot to the heart of Spotify.
God.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
It's
I
funny.
think that
I
was based
swear,
off a poem.
like
I don't think she wrote that.
the other streaming services have been recommending these artists more to me now that they're like, oh, Spotify doesn't have them. Quick,
Yeah,
because I got Tidal, I got YouTube Music, I got and they're like giving me notifications like, hey, it's a good time to listen to Neil Young right now.
So here's Joni Mitchell's corporate answer that was, I think it was written by an AI fucking bot. Joni Mitchell last night removed her music from Spotify, quote, in solidarity with Neil Young and the global scientific and medical communities on this issue.
Wow.
Nils Lofgren, who I didn't know what the fuck he was, but you do, evidently, Mr. Kirk. Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band guitarist Nils Lofgren announced in a letter on Young's website Saturday that he was also joining the boycott over vaccine misinformation. None of them actually specify what the vaccine misinformation is.
Right. It's just misinformation.
Yeah.
I bet Neil Young will be on Rogan's podcast here in the next month.
I
It's
hope.
a pleasure to be on here, Neil. Joe.
You sound just like him.
That's weird.
Lofgren.
I try.
I think you do good. I think you do good.
There is a town in North Ontario. It's pretty easy to
Fucking
do.
nailed it.
Yeah, it's like Kermit.
You just have to sing from the back of your esophagus.
Yeah.
You just have to pretend like you're Jordan Peterson singing a song, and then you meander about bullshit, about things that nobody knows about. Lofgren said he stood with healthcare professionals, scientists, and others, and calling out Spotify for promoting vaccine misinformation.
Because there was a billboard I drove past where Spotify was like bragging about all the misinformation. They were promoting it really well.
I drove past a Spotify billboard on State Avenue the other day that was like pro-life is pro-love. I was like, okay.
That's Spotify for you. They told me that I could breathe water.
Mm-hmm. They told me that water was wet. India Ari, singer India Ari announced on Instagram Monday, an announcement on Instagram. I have an Instagram. I don't know how to make announcements on it.
You post a picture of yourself, and then in the caption, you write your post.
Oh my god, I'm such a boomer. Now I know how Neil Young feels.
So like if you're, let's say, Patton Oswalt, for example, and you're writing some kowtow post to your fucking lesbian fans about how you're so sorry that you're friends with Dave Chappelle, you're going to have someone take a picture of you sitting down writing it, but at an angle where you can see your reflection in the mirror and yourself while you're pondering with a pencil in your hand what the next great words you're going to write in the message that you eventually type out onto your picture of you thinking.
Who does Patton Oswalt think he is?
Ratatouille.
Yeah.
India Ari, Neil Young opened a door that I must walk through.
Wow. That's beautiful.
So profound, fucking dumb bitch. Hey, this is perfect. I believe in freedom of speech. However, that's not how you follow the phrase "I believe in free speech." However, I find Joe Rogan problematic for reasons other than his COVID interviews. For me, it's also his language.
I find him problematic because, like, you see, he's like a man, and he's got like testosterone, and he likes to do like traditional man things, and that's like offensive to me. Like, he likes to hunt and like work out and do like things like fighting and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's real problematic. You understand? That's like toxic. It's real toxic to be around that.
He's a fatty hater.
He doesn't like fat people. I
don't like that about him.
Rousing, intelligent response to Joe Rogan and Spotify. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For me, it's also his language around race.
Who's this?
His language around race?
Yes. The guy that's
how they talk.
The guy
is she mixing up Joe Rogan with someone?
She's mixing up Joe Rogan, I think, with like Spencer. What's his name? Yeah, the neo-Nazi dude, Richard Spencer. Oh. I think that's the confusion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Graham Nash, singer-songwriter Graham Nash.
Joni Mitchell, and Neil Young are all pulling their shit from Spotify, and it's like, well, like they're all still banging each other like they were back in the 60s.
Here's what I wonder. Yeah, exactly. They're like, they're still clinging on to old romances.
They all came to this conclusion in bed together.
Hey, if anything ever happens 50 years from now, we're on the same side.
Can you imagine? And we've talked about this off air, but like, can you imagine if you showed Neil Young in 1970, like what he's doing now, like how disappointed he'd be?
He'd blow his brains out.
Like, come on.
He'd be disgusted.
What a cunt.
What a piece of shit.
He sold 50% of his music catalog to Blackstone.
A major corporation.
Essentially Blackstone. Blackstone put $1 billion investment into hypnosis. It's hypnosis. I don't know if that's exactly
he kept saying Warner Bros. So I don't.
Well, that's, I believe, the record company that that all the shit's released through, but like the rights to his music, he sold 50% of it for $150 million to Hypnosis,
whose parent company is BlackRock. Blackstone or BlackRock?
Blackstone.
I get confused between rocks and stones.
That's like the Jason Bourne thing.
And Blackstone was the Blackstone's CEO was CEO of Pfizer.
Yeah, he's senior advisor for Blackstone.
Oh,
but he used to be the head of Pfizer.
Head of Pfizer, okay.
Yeah, and now he's senior advisor.
And now
for Blackstone.
Here's another thing.
Blackstone really sounds like a clandestine intelligence agency,
doesn't it? Like James Bond or something.
Yeah, and they're about
to get Blackstone.
Yep, Blackstone's swallowing up all the fucking real estate in the world.
It sounds like can you call yourself like Goldstone or like Silverstone? Like Alicia?
Then they think you're
yum.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like
then
it's
they
much
think
more
you're
innocent.
Jewish.
Blackstone.
Goldstein.
Anyhow. So Graham Nash says,
I don't know if you guys made this point at all when you were interviewing Neil, but like
I don't know what the heck's going on.
No one's talked about Neil Young like this for years.
Right.
He's getting a lot of
He's got a lot of publicity.
Mm-hmm.
His catalog has just been sold to BlackRock or Blackstone.
Mm-hmm.
Your catalog has just been sold.
Your
catalog has just been sold. I like that.
My catalog has just been sold.
Is that the gay guy who came after us?
No, that's Peter Wolf.
That's Peter Wolf. Yeah, he doesn't like us at all.
So now you have an investment made by Blackstone, who's also in bed with Pfizer.
Yes.
And so Neil Young is essentially working for Pfizer right now?
For Big Pharma.
Big Pharma, Neil Young. Think about that.
That's why he's anti-vax?
That's why he's coming out about COVID-19 misinformation, vaccine.
Which he doesn't specify what that means. Because he's
it's an umbrella term.
Right. But that's the thing, he doesn't specify it because none of these, whether you're a pundit or you're a quote-unquote journalist who works for one of these media companies, you never really specify anything. You just use very generic terms that encompass, like, an entire broad spectrum of things. So he's like, they're spreading misinformation, and because they're spreading misinformation, I'm going to... Well, what are you talking about? But it turns out that he sold 50% of his music to...
This is all old shit anyway. The kids don't care about it. They're going to keep buying ass pizza stuff and listening to Spiderweb Hair Dude and,
Well, anyhow...
in my room, swing in my face.
Oh, come on, be nice. Singer-songwriter Graham Nash...
Like, these old fucks, they are taking away music from people who aren't the ones that are getting misinformation from Spotify if he's saying they're 24-year-olds.
Yeah, I know, no shit.
They're like, we're going to pull our music. And the kids are like, okay.
I know all the 24-year-olds.
You're only being less influential to us then.
All the 24-year-olds are like, oh shit, I can't listen to Graham Nash anymore. And that was my other thing. I was like...
And Joni Mitchell.
So Neil Young is taking his shit off.
I'd go for some Graham Nash right now. The
one where he's an apple?
No, it sounds like a cereal.
But then, okay, so anyways, Graham Nash said, I am requesting that my solo recordings be removed from the service. So... Neil Young's being taken away from Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Graham Nash's solo shit's being taken away. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Crosby, Stills, and Nash is still on there, and Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young is still on there. Which is also their best music of all those people.
Well. What are the other guys going to do? Crosby and Stills?
They're going to do...
are they going to also...
ultimately just going to be Stills, I think, because Crosby's still kind of a crusty old fucking weirdo.
Boomers are going to be the only people who care.
Who also doesn't like Neil Young, by the way. He's like, Neil Young is the most selfish human I've ever known.
Stills said that?
Yeah, Crosby's did.
Okay.
He said Neil Young is the most selfish human being he's ever met in his life.
Wow.
If you really go back on it and you look at it, like, Young very selfishly torpedoed a lot of acts, like... for no reason.
Like who?
Like Buffalo Springfield. You know, like they were together, and then he just goes, "Nope, I don't want to play with this anymore." Mm-hmm. So then, like,
and he very rarely played with Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Well, the Crosby, Stills, and Nash started on their own,
right?
Released that first record, and then they decided to bring in Neil. So then Neil floats in. They start making really great music. And then what does Neil do? He bounces. He bails.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because he never cared about anybody but himself. It's all a hoax. The whole thing.
He there's like interviews, documentaries, whatever, and his whole thing was always just like, I was always just chasing the muse, and like so.
That's a nice way of putting it. About like I was always being selfish, and then always willing to throw other people under the bus. Because I was following my heart.
Well, maybe not throw them under the bus, but completely abandon them.
Yeah.
Right, which also includes throwing them under the bus, basically, because it's like, especially if you're like Buffalo Springfield or something, it's just like, oh shit, there went that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So now that you look back on it, you see what he's doing now, and you see what he's been doing back then. It's like he was never good. He was always an asshole.
He made some good music.
He was always sure he made good music. Gary Glitter made good music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of assholes.
Well, it's funny too, the perception of certain artists compared to others, because like Neil Young, no, I wouldn't say people wouldn't be like, oh, that guy's an asshole. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then like other artists, now that what we're talking about, I'm blanking completely. But there's other artists who have the moniker of being an asshole. Like, oh, that guy's an asshole.
Like Roger Waters.
Yeah, or like Morrissey
Morrissey is definitely an asshole.
Even I'm trying to think of guys that like are more universal, not controversial, because like obviously you could be
that guy
like,
from Geils. Fuck that guy.
Well, that guy. Yeah, whatever. Our lawyer said not to.
It's not even his name on the band.
Well, they said we're really not supposed to be talking about it too much. We recorded a piece a couple days ago confronting the topic. Our lawyer heard it. For those of you who know the process here, the Brew and the Fruit, most of the time we have to record an episode, then send it through legal. Legal has to go through. They have to make sure we don't say anything that's going to really incriminate us or do anything that's going to get us sued. And the message that I'm assuming you're going to hear at the beginning of this current episode towards a certain party will be played in its entirety, but we were told that like any further afterwards we're really not supposed to bring it up.
You can eat my shit.
Yeah, we could say what we'd like the person to do or happen to the person. We're not allowed to reference who the person is anymore.
I forgot his name anyway.
Well, there you go.
It's not worth remembering.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
great. I like not knowing celebrities' names. I'm very good at it. Oh,
the problem is there's certain people who you have a lot of respect for, and that you can disagree with certain things.
But that's how I feel about Joe Rogan. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of his. I don't listen to all his stuff.
Yeah, like I don't like any of his stand up. It's not like I'm like this like fan of his. What I appreciate about him is the long form interview style that he has when he interviews interesting people,
and the diversity of his guests. The fact that he exists, that's cool. And the UFC announcing is all right.
Yeah, like that's probably the thing I like about him the most is like the fights and like and that. Yeah, that's
he's a great announcer.
But
I think JR.
I think he's very good.
You like JR?
JR gets a little more flair than Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, his leg hurts. Look.
Jim Ross was...
Look at that bump on his leg.
That's the thing, though. That's the difference. Joe Rogan is a commentator. Jim Ross is a storyteller.
Yeah. They're two JRs.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I only know the one.
That's fine. I'm happy that he refers to JR.
I know. I was happy he referred to fake sports.
Yeah. That's a storyteller. Yeah, that's the thing.
JR throws in some, like, Southern style similes that are very interesting, and Joe Rogan's just kind of like, oh, he hit him again.
Yeah.
But he's, it's fun to hear him.
But I appreciate that he's everything he does is like he just does whatever he wants.
Right.
And he gets paid for
there's
it.
Not
Yeah.
there's not an agenda as it seems.
And it doesn't seem fake, like with a
Right.
lot of celebrities
And I
trying to do
think-
podcasts.
And I think that a lot of what bothers the establishment or the status quo is that he isn't really swayable, you know?
Yeah.
Like he would like he's not gonna I mean, yeah, he signed a enormous Spotify contract, but he didn't sell out by doing that.
Right.
It was like he was, you know, we'd all do that deal.
Right.
And so
No one else is
anything-
going to get it, but
Yeah, and if anything,
this might fucking really.
This could-
He might have been one of the worst things that happens to them.
yeah.
Spotify.
But at the same end, it could be a thing where it's like Spotify standing its ground like that is kind of honorable in a way.
They sort of stood their ground. They made some kind of
Did they make
they
like
did some
a?
kind of a message that was like.
Is there
that
a
they were-
picture of Spotify with their head on their chin, writing a very heartfelt
like
letter?
Patton Oswalt?
Yeah,
What
they
an
make-
Essentially,
asshole.
that's
Yeah.
essentially.
What a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. I hate. That's the thing is like.
Well, he's one of those people that has to be. He is worried that his career will go down the tubes if he says the wrong thing.
Right, which means you have no
Well,
honor.
because that's the thing. He's probably has said the wrong thing.
Yeah, and he murdered his fucking wife.
Oh, that's not gonna get through legal.
I think we might have to remove that.
It's extrapolate.
Well,
How
I
did
don't
he
know.
do it?
okay, there's a few things. So Patton Oswalt did a special, like a comedy special thing or whatever the fuck it was, or Netflix. No, this was long before. This was before Netflix, I think. But he did a bit on his comedy special about how he went to his mom's house and he was getting all these drugs because she's got like instead of having, she's got like a whole bowl in her living room full of different drugs. And then he was like, well, I think I need some Xanax. And she's like, oh, I think that one's Xanax. And so she gives him some pills or whatever. And then, so he's making that kind of joke on his Netflix special.
So
the very
wait,
next day,
pause.
Wait, what?
So so I'm just trying to help clean some of this up. So you're saying that in Patton Oswalt's special, he's alluding to the fact that he has access to willy-nilly drugs.
Yes.
Like drugs are just kind
prescription drugs.
Prescription drugs are kind of just like willy-nilly available for him. If anything, if you're supposed to take it with a grain of salt, he's at least saying that his mother has copious amounts of medication.
Right. Which is a joke in his comedy special, whatever. So then the very next day after the special is released is when his wife is found dead. And according to him, he gave her a Xanax or Xanax, multiple Xanax, whatever it was, in addition to the cocktail of medication she was already on. I think maybe she was overweight and she had some issues.
I thought she was on cancer.
Cross-reference all this stuff. Whatever it was, she was
cancer.
sick. He shouldn't have been giving her pills. You cross-reference all this stuff.
Okay.
You make sure this is right.
Legal's
because-
not going to be happy with this.
I mean, I'm okay with shitting all over him because he's a piece of shit for what he did over the. I'm sorry, I took a picture and then you did your little. Oh, I'm gonna contemplate my future. Whatever. He's a piece of shit anyway, so I'm okay with lying about him. But just in case what I'm saying isn't true, you can look it up. But then he gave his wife Xanax, and then that was like the final thing in the cocktail that ended up eliminating her. But there was also really weird stuff of the way that he was explaining the story of how he found her.
Holy shit! Actually, well,
Oh,
man, that was a very complicated death.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was ruled accidental overdose. She was on Adderall, Xanax, and fentanyl, and she had a previously undiagnosed cardiovascular disease.
And this was so he gave her the Xanax, which supposedly put her over the top. He didn't have a prescription for Xanax. Imagine if you and I gave somebody, hey, take the Xanax, and they die. We go to prison.
It would be at least manslaughter, wouldn't it?
It'd be manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter, we get like 4 years in prison at minimum. Anyways, make sure I'm right though. Don't.
Well, wait, what am I checking?
We're kind of
now?
doing this right on the fly
You're
here.
going pretty. I don't. You're speaking too quickly. You're spreading lies very fast.
So So
You're a lot like Joe Rogan right
Like
now.
a wildfire.
Burger's case is that through
Did she not have cancer?
through evidence shown in Oswald's stand-up, it's not above him to have Xanax pass or even pass Xanax around without a prescription.
Xanax, Adderall, and fentanyl. That's crazy high right there.
Yeah, well, it's
That's-
totally
you
the
can't-
opposite
you can't
too.
say
like
that's-
Adderall is what you want to take when you want to
And
like get shit
amphetamine.
done.
Yeah, that's an
And then
upper.
Xanax is the thing you take when you don't want to do anything at all.
Well,
except
Xanax
relax.
makes you real chill, right?
Right.
And then the fentanyl is what you take when you want to.
Fentanyl is what you take when you want to fight
when you
Derek
wanna
Chauvin
die.
in the middle of the street.
I mean, fentanyl kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
Back in 2016, killed her.
So was she prescribed with Xanax?
I feel like
I don't think I have access to her.
I feel like he got more famous once she died.
Exactly. And so then they're like, hey,
Like he was already fringe because he was on like King of Queens and was a stand-up comedian.
Right.
Then he was like he was with that like alt comedy crowd like Brian Posehn and all those like weirdos. And then all of a sudden he became like the respected weirdo comic once his wife died.
yeah.
I don't like where this is going, but I can totally see.
And then now he's part of the whole woke mob thing where he's like,
The woke
yeah,
mob,
I'm a piece of shit for taking a picture with Dave Chappelle,
Yeah.
who's considered like the god of comedy right now.
Yeah.
But you're an asshole because he made jokes about trans, I guess, that weren't anti-trans jokes. It wasn't like an aggressively anti-trans thing. It was like certain people took offense to it. And then, by the way, that whole thing where they're like Netflix they're planning this big like revolt thing where they're going to go out and strike. I think they said like 16 people showed up. It was like an extraordinarily low number.
All right, let's not get too far into the trans thing again.
But they said, but the newspapers were saying like, 500 employees planning to fucking do whatever, and then it was like nobody showed up. But they never talked about the nobody showed up. You'd have to dig into the alternative, So of course that's how it works because everything has to be biased, and people don't like the truth because it makes them look like assholes.
That's why you get your news from Spotify, right?
I don't get news from Spotify. They're not this idea that Spotify is like Fox is incredible. Or it's InfoWars. Like, some people go to InfoWars, some people go to Spotify, some people go to New York Times.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I don't know if he murdered his wife, but I think maybe he did, and I think we should get a little more educated on this.
I just ultimately what bugs me the most is the war on free speech.
Right, because it's like, especially with Joe Rogan, it's like all he does is podcast.
There's nothing that Joe Rogan is doing though that is like he's not going on there and spouting for the elimination of a race,
Right.
the extermination of a race or something. He's going on there and he's sharing what worked for him.
Yeah.
If there was a flu, and I'm like, yeah, I just stayed home for 3 days and I had Sprite and fucking crackers
And Campbell's soup.
and Campbell's soup. I felt great afterward. After 2 days, and I had a bunch of took some vitamin C. Drank some orange juice. Felt great after 2 days. It was gone. I feel good. Like, is that all of a sudden am I like?
So you're saying that nobody should get the flu shot? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that's what worked for me when I got the flu.
I know but that's their attitude.
Well,
It's like, what are you saying?
Joe Rogan said a lot of things. It's not like he
Yeah, but
just said that.
One of the things
But one of the attacks against him is that he's sharing what was prescribed and what worked for him.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he also says if you're vulnerable, like you're older, you should get the vaccine.
Well, he also
you should get
said
it.
like young people shouldn't get it, and that's something they're.
But he didn't say they shouldn't get it. He's like, I wouldn't
Said
recommend.
if you're young and
like,
healthy, you don't need
if you're 20 years old and you probably don't need to get the vaccine. But then
Well, they're
He was
trying
like,
to
"But
get
if
all the
you're older,
children.
you're
They're trying to
vulnerable."
get all the children vaccinated. So
Right, they're trying to get
Gotta
5-year-olds
catch
vaccinated
'em
now.
all.
that's where there's
Right.
there's-
Because it makes money for that's all this thing is it's money.
Either
'Cause the
they're
government
bleeding the insurance and shit dry.
Yeah, the government so the government takes our tax money and then they give it to
Don't forget the insurance. Because all this shit, for the most part, if you have insurance, is covered by your insurance.
Yeah.
Like, so you go and you get the shot, it's covered by your insurance if you have insurance.
But if you don't
So
have
they're just
insurance,
so this is, in a weird way, the argument should be more about, are they committing insurance fraud by forcing everyone to get vaccinated when these kids, most of these kids are going to be on an insurance of some sort, right?
yeah, most
I don't
of
really
them, I
know.
guess.
That's one thing that not many people ever talk about, around me at least, is just where's the money coming from for all of this? Because, the tests are basically free if you have insurance, and even if you don't, and so is the vaccines. And
It's not a coincidence that they're talking about there being some sort of like, impending, collapse and like, all this shit. So
schools can't even get food to feed the kids right now. There's like the shortages in the supply chain are so serious.
and yet everyone who's somehow in bed with big pharma are making shitloads of money right now.
Yeah. And then if you try to make the point of like, well, this is all just it's a money grab, then people are like, well, it's a free vaccine. It's like, you think that everybody at Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson are just like, they have to sleep and camp out in the lab because
They're not
making
money.
charging money.
Yeah, they're making money from that.
Yeah, it's all just a big volunteer project. Like, it's all a big charity
They're
event.
making a shitload of money.
No, but that's what they
And
think. It's like,
eventually,
no, they're not. It's all free.
It's gonna come back at us in another way. So that's why it's like, if you think about it now, prices for food and gas and all that shit are going up. Rent prices are exploding. You have companies, corporations, terrorist groups like Blackstone coming through and buying property, commercial and residential property, scooping all that shit up and paying at a premium plus right now.
Yeah.
With the idea of just trying to own everything.
Right.
Because then once they own it, you're never going to be able to take it away from them.
Capitalizing on the government's force of distorting the entire market. So this is all just, and that's the thing that people don't understand when they talk about.
Because what's going to happen? Oh, sorry.
Well,
not to cut you off.
I don't know. How does Blackstone tie with?
Well, no, but I want
COVID.
to make the point of what a lot of
Because
people think.
Blackstone, the guy who runs Blackstone was a dude from Pfizer.
Right.
It's like connecting Dick Cheney and Halliburton to the no contract bids that were made for the weapons for
the illegal wars.
This is where,
Well,
I get a little lost.
When someone's the CEO of a company or the former CEO of a company, there's no way they don't have any more ties. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're
Or
going to have stock. They're going to have stock still.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to have stock. That's where their money's at.
Well, it's like also the former CEO of Shell, that Trump appointed him to be some kind of liaison for some a government position. Where I was like, wait a minute, that's not a good position to have. There might be a conflict of interest here because it's like what you said with Dick Cheney and Halliburton. Dick Cheney was a former head of Halliburton or whatever,
And still
so then
had
he's no longer
stock.
associated.
He's no longer the guy in charge there, but he's definitely on the kickback.
It's like if Neil Young sold 50% of his music to Hypnosis, which is Blackstone, and then the former head of the former CEO or whatever of Pfizer is now the senior advisor for Blackstone, and then they say, "Hey, Neil,
It's a win-win.
we need you to do something."
It's a win-win. We're gonna have you pull. Neil, come in, pal. Sit down. We're gonna have you pull your shit from Spotify, and you're gonna say it's in the name of COVID misinformation, and that's gonna get people talking about you. Eventually, there's gonna be a demand for your music.
And also, you're doing the world a favor.
And I mean, we're seeing all these people post it.
And you're being a hero.
Hearing it played.
And, and they already know that Neil Young is gullible because he fell for the whole Pono thing.
And he fell for the whole AIDS thing.
And so they make him they work him up enough to where he believes that he's this fucking like vigilante.
Yeah.
Who's going out and standing up for the good of everyone.
Yep. And also becoming relevant again.
Yeah. Now his music's gonna probably go through the roof.
Yep.
And he, since he still owns 50% of it, he has the incentive to do that.
Bingo. It's
bingo. But what I was saying about
then Pfizer stock continues to rise
because he's there's a Pfizer link. There's a link. It's insane. There's a link between Pfizer and Rockin' in the Free World. And it's not it's not 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon.
Mm.
It's like 3 degrees. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Neil Young's Rockin' in the Free World, owned by Hypnosis, parent company Blackstone, run by Pfizer.
Run by a guy who came from Pfizer.
How insane is this fucking connection here?
Yeah.
It is pretty weird.
But what I was saying about the when we're talking about the impending like economic collapse, you have these companies like Blackstone stuff that are making tons of money with assets or whatever right now. So then when all shit collapses, they're still going to have their money, and then they're going to be able to swoop up and buy everything.
The 10 richest people in the world have doubled their income collectively during this pandemic.
Yeah, that's why they call it a scamdemic, because it was all designed. All the most richest people in the world were all the ones saying, "Yeah, everybody needs to lock down and be afraid, like get your vaccine." Those are the people that made billions of dollars in the last 2 years.
So here's the honest truth here.
I'm gonna give it to you straight.
I'm gonna give it to you guys real straight. Guys like us, in a weird way, are actually kind of like the cockroaches and the rats for the nuclear apocalypse. How they're gonna survive? Like when the shit collapses. In reality, since we don't really have anything tied up in like assets like land or stocks or anything, we're not going to necessarily be affected,
right?
As much as other people.
If you're like middle class,
if you're middle class and like my parents or whatever who have money tied up in stocks and 401ks and all that shit, your value and your worth could plummet within 6 hours, within an hour. If shit hits the fan again like 2008, we're in a position as being kind of like just broke artist dudes where we're not going to be necessarily affected.
Unless we don't have a job anymore.
Well, no, I'm more than other people. What I'm saying is that like if we band together when that shit happens and found a way to drum a bunch of money, we could probably buy property and buy a home for really fucking cheap.
Ass pizza.
And start doing ass pizza.
Dude. Making silkies and ass pizza. I watched a cool video yesterday.
I don't know what ass pizza is.
Dude, it's a guy who designs weird clothing and he makes money. And he's like big in the scene.
No,
where people say they're dripping when they wear the clothes. That's how cool they are.
No, I'm talking
ass pizza, dude.
No, I'm talking more like you talk to someone who has liquid assets, like money, actual cash.
Yeah, and we're gonna start a clothing line.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Why would we start a clothing line if the housing market
the filters
collapses?
aren't doing so hot. The premium filters,
well, of course they're not doing so hot. I've been telling you that since day one. What I'm saying is that if the housing market collapses and the bubble bursts again, and all of a sudden shit is at liquidation prices, where all these assholes are going to come in and try swooping it up. If you're able to act at the right time, you get in on that, and then you have something that then is just going to start going back up again. That's the thing.
But how do we do it?
We
need liquid assets.
We would need to know someone who would be willing to back us.
For what? To just give us money to buy shit?
No, that would be willing to back us and know that we as an investment on their own end.
And what? Us?
I mean,
Us, our skills,
I think.
our art, our abilities.
I know that it sounds like a joke, but in reality, like if the housing market collapsed and there was also all of a sudden some place with a piece of land and a decent house that you could get for like $90,000 now instead of like $400,000. Just I don't know how that would work, but if that was something along those lines, I guarantee there's someone we could talk to get something down to get that.
Yeah.
And then what we would do is we would probably live in it, fix it up, sit on it until it all of a sudden triples, quadruples again. Because land and housing, all that shit's always going to go up. You're never going to lose value. It's always going to go up. That's the difference. Like,
or even if it goes down, it comes back up again at some point.
So it's going to
like gold.
I think a lot of people have this idea to buy property when it gets cheap, though.
Right,
but they never execute it.
No. So what I'm saying is that
how are we different?
We're different than the people who like. Okay, if we were some Joe Blow that works at Boeing who's getting max pay right now and has a 401k and all that kind of crap, so has money and is like, man, once that housing market dips, I'm gonna swoop in there and buy shit. But then when the housing market dips, their stocks and everything fucking dip. So now they're not worth shit anymore. They don't have the money to buy that. We don't have to worry about that. So if we know someone
who doesn't have money in stocks.
Yeah, who has it basically in
gold?
person, essentially.
Gold. We should be buying gold
or whatever. And you talk to them and you get them to invest.
I have an investment idea. Can I pitch it?
No.
Please.
No, your last one got us trying to in a pyramid scheme. And then your last investment,
it's a good
your
one.
last investment before that got us mixed up with the Indonesian mafia.
This is a good one. This is a good one this time.
Is this going to get us involved in some kind of like a group of people who are not so savory?
Look, pimps can't sell women who are selling themselves, right?
Pimps can't sell women who are selling themselves.
And that's what OnlyFans allows them to do.
Okay.
They're selling their bodies.
So
on the
OnlyFans is limited to the middleman.
Yeah, OnlyFans is the pimp.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
You know
and
they're getting a cut.
But here's the thing: if those OnlyFans girls can't afford a house or a set because now property and everything is ridiculous prices,
so you start an
OnlyFans
farm.
brothel farm.
Yeah.
We'll call it farm.
OnlyFans brothel farm.
I think they already have those.
But like, if we could have the house when no one else has houses,
right. Because they did that on Workaholics, where there was like a webcam girl, and they went to go find her, and it was like just this house where all these chicks were like working at.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say this is a very dehumanizing concept. Like once you.
So what you do?
we become the pimp.
No. What you do? Is you provide them the canvas to work on.
Okay.
And you can get more foot traffic that way.
What's the backdrop?
Yeah, so you have 4 rooms instead of having 4 permanent tenants. You rent the room out by the hour.
Dude, we got like the girl next door room, which just was like a pretty little room with girl stuff in it, and then we got like the jungle room where they're like doing Amazon shit.
Sure.
What about the dudes?
Anyone can use the rooms.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, money's not in dudes though.
Yeah,
I think no. It's different. With it, here's the way it works. With women, it's the number is higher, but the quantity is higher, but the amount of money is lower. Where with dudes,
we get into specialties.
The quantity is lower, but the number of money is higher.
Specialized.
Yeah, it's a big deal. People love doing. Straight guys love banging dudes too. I think there's a certain thing, like especially the really depraved ones.
Okay,
there's a market out there.
I guess I just don't get laid enough to want.
Okay,
try.
Well, I don't know.
Straight guys like to bang dudes.
I'm in a different universe than you guys.
Yeah, you're probably not talking to guys who are straight.
Well, I'm talking about guys.
Do you know
who are
guys who are-
straight-ish?
You guys know? Do you know guys?
It's
You're
21st
straight.
it's the
You're,
20
you,
for
you're
videos.
straightish.
I mean, it's the 21st century. Things go back and forth. I'd bang a chick for cash.
Okay.
It's like she was paying me. She was like, "Hey, Burger, I'll give you $15."
Doesn't matter what she looks like.
And
Doesn't
I'm like, "That's
matter
fine."
what she looks like.
$15. That's your price for
Imagine
what
you
I thought
put
he said
15 bucks
50.
in pull tabs and just a random bowl
Remember
and win
when-
like $600.
Remember when we asked him and he like brought himself down? and
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was great. That was like one of the first episodes.
He'd be a bad whore.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh no.
You said $15. So
Dude,
if
that's-
Tim and I found a woman and we gave you $15 and said bang her, you would do it.
Depends on what she looks like.
But so what do you?
It's like Selena Gomez. I could make that happen. If it's
very large.
no,
And old.
no, I have no. I have
She's
very.
got a weird leg.
No, I can't. I can't do it. Ace,
Who do you think's paying?
I can't. No, if it's somebody.
$15?
$15. If it was like
Selena
$100,
Gomez ain't paying you to fuck her for $15.
No, we're paying him.
I know, but
Oh,
if it
we
was
gotta
$100,
find someone who's just
I
like,
could-
she wouldn't know.
If you give me $1,000, I'd fuck a chick with no legs. But if you gave me $15, it'd have to be like somebody really. It'd have to be.
I'd fuck a chick with no legs
it
for
would be
free.
like-
That sounds interesting.
It would be like we're at Tony V's. There's women around, and we're like, Burger, here's $20. That chick that's been eyeing you, go bang her.
This is actually a pretty realistic
Right.
possibility because this happens
Or
all
at
the
least
time.
have me go
yeah,
flirt with her for
places,
15.
yeah.
Hey, here's $15. Go flirt with that chick and see how far you can get. And then I'd be like, hey, dude, I know this is weird. I want to bang. Normally I bang dudes, but I mean you're pretty cute, and my friends gave me $15.
No,
to
see,
if I can
game
Okay.
over. Game over.
Oh,
No, that's
they like that stuff though. They like being
no,
treated like
they-
property.
they-
Women, don't they?
I would
not
at
when I
least
do it.
I would at least expect you to be more smooth, like in a movie where you're like, all right, fine. You take the $20 from her, and you go over and start talking to her, and you go, hey, I know this sounds weird and all, but my friends over there. Long story short, I'm not straight. However, my friends gave me this money for me to try to seduce you, and how about we just have a drink?
This is getting a little too complicated.
Or I could make it
think.
even
I
more
don't know.
simpler. I could
Well,
be like,
no. What I'm saying is because you obviously wouldn't actually pull the trigger to do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because if it's out of our hands and Burger's just taking the $20, it's like, all right, challenge accepted. All he has to do is go over to the chick, like I said, because we're not hearing it, and you just be like, hey, this is the deal. Let me buy you a drink with this money I just got from my friends, and we'll go our separate way. Just pretend like I'm flirting with you. And she'd just be like, oh, that's weird. Okay. And then she gets a free drink, and then Burger fucking comes back and goes, lesbian. What do you know?
I'm not sure
why.
why I'm paying him. Honestly, why I don't want to see this.
Because it's like an experiment. We don't have to. No, we're not asking to see it. It's the
You're not
experiment.
supposed to film it. You're
Well,
supposed
then
to take
how
my
do
word.
I know it happened?
That's
You
what I'm
gotta take my
saying.
word for it.
I'm not paying.
Burger, you just
Burger, I'm gonna pay you to help me get laid. That's all I care.
Burger crushed it. That's hey, I would not lie. If I came back and I said crush, then you say
about. Greasy.
I believe you.
No, I'd be like, bullshit.
Yeah,
I would
believe
not
you.
lie. I'd be proud of it. I'd have a feather sticking out of my
No,
fucking
you wouldn't.
cap.
No, you wouldn't. You would be probably really ashamed of yourself.
I would
You'd
be
feel
ashamed
gross.
because I went 30 fucking years. God damn it.
You ruined yourself.
I know. It's like going 30 years without smoking cigarettes, and it's like I just under
No,
peer
what really
pressure.
happens is he goes through with it, and he's just like, what
What have I been missing?
am I missing?
He's
This is
straight.
great. I'm straight now, everybody.
Oh
Then
my
I
god!
don't-
Everybody, I'm straight.
And then
I'm
we're
gonna
not,
spend the rest of my life being nagged by some nasty bitch that I don't like.